Alright, I know you guys love story time and you love the gay stuff, so let me give you one of the best gay stories I have from my time in federal penitentiary. I spent 2.5 years in Ontario prisons for nonviolent crime. Wrote a book about it, you can read it, but let's get to the juicy stuff. This is the story of how I started watching RuPaul's Drag Race in one of the best settings I think you could watch RuPaul's Drag Race in, federal prison. So let me give you some background. You need to picture the scene, okay? We're in Joyceville Medium. It's being used as an assessment. It's where people go before they figure out where they're going to spend the rest of their sentence. Now, COVID hasn't happened just yet, but we're in the early stages. It's 2 to a cell, and my cellmate is a rapper. Now, he's not a very famous rapper, and I think he might still be inside, but I'm still not going to use his name, so we're going to invent one for him. We're going to call him Blippy. So Blippy's about my size. He's about 6'2", 6'3", and he's a big yoked up Jamaican guy. We got along pretty well. He was like a clean freak, which I appreciated, but he was almost like kind of weird about it. And if you watch my old videos, you'll know what I mean when it comes to like kneeling down when you pee. I wasn't a huge fan of that. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So me and Blippy are on the bunks. He's top bunk, I'm bottom bunk. I got there first, so. And we're watching Saturday Night Live, and I remember it distinctly. You can look up the date on your own time, but Lizzo was the musical performer, and RuPaul was the host, okay? Now, keep in mind, these guys are in jail. They have not seen a woman in a long time. So Lizzo comes out, she starts shaking her ass, playing the flute, and Blippy's going crazy. Bob hitting the ceiling. He wants this so bad, bro. This is the horniest guy I've ever met in my life. He's like a cartoon skunk, okay? So in the middle of all of this noise and commotion, and the air smelling like industrial cleaning products from the fact that Blippy cleaned the bathroom for like the 3rd time that day, out comes the host, and it is RuPaul, and Blippy's like, who's that? She's bad, eh? I look up at him like, yo, you know that's a man, right? Mood changed immediately. Lava splash, all the words that you could think of that Jamaicans use to describe homosexuality. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, yo, the funniest thing to do would be to get really into watching RuPaul's Drag Race. I've never watched a show before, but I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity. This is going to be so much fun. And guess what? I was right. So anyway, COVID happens. I'm in jail for a little bit longer. I'm in minimum security at this point. And anytime I'm in the common room, I'm putting this show on, fam. Like, at this point, there's already a Canada's Drags race. So this thing is always on. And I'm always catching guys. And I'm talking about, like, lifers. People who have been in jail for longer than The Simpsons has been on air. And I'm trying to get them to watch it with me. First, I try to tell them it's like a car racing show, right? But within, like, 10 seconds, 2 seconds even, you can tell that's not the case with RuPaul's Drag Race. That shit is loud and proud, okay? Personally, my go-to was actually being like, no, you guys don't understand. These are athletes, okay? We don't have the NBA right now, so we need to watch professional athletes doing things on stage. Whether that's putting a ball through a hoop or, you know, busting their pussy open. And that was really the funniest part about this, is we have like actual killers. Guys with like razor wire tattoos and like just the absolute most villainous people in society. And the scariest thing to them is watching a 6'4" man in heels lip sync till he dies. Fuck, wait, that's not what it is. Lip sync for your life. It's been a while. I haven't watched RuPaul since I've been free. The actual season I watched, the person that won was Paris Hilton's stylist. It's incredible how quickly these things just escape your memory once you stop needing them. She was like a trans man who was competing in the festival. It was all kind of like very weird to me as that being my first season, but then they had All-Stars right after and I caught right up. Another big part that plays into it is the TV politics of jail. You have your common room TV in the common room, and then everybody has a TV in their cell. There was a guy I was in jail with, now this is back when I was in like Toronto South doing bucket time, but anytime there was even a commercial showing a same-sex couple, he would change the channel. So at a certain point, I started putting RuPaul on like it was a power move. I'm like, this TV, this big TV, because the common room TV is like 3 inches bigger than the one in your room. Like, this TV is mine. If you want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race with me, go ahead. Most of the time, I did end up just turning on the Raptors game or flicking back and forth because we still did have to watch commercials. Young whippersnappers wouldn't know nothing about that. But the fact is the TV is very important. So establishing this choke point wasn't just fun, it was actually pivotal and ruined a lot of guys' lives. Not lives, but, you know, whatever lives they had. I had one guy, he's like a complete country bumpkin. He's from somewhere in northern Ontario. He just kept coming in on B&Es. Not the smartest guy, as evidenced by the fact that I got him to watch the show with me for like 20 minutes. Because I was telling him, like, these are real women. Only, like, when they started pulling the prosthetics out, even then I bought like an extra 2 minutes being like, no, they're making it bigger, but you know, they're like actual broads underneath. But most guys are just looking at it like they're confused. I mean, obviously they hate it and they think it's like an abomination, especially if they're Jamaican. But the country bumpkins are just kind of looking at it like a dog looks at you when you try to have a conversation with it. Just a lot of head tilting. Now, the other power move about this is you have to walk through the common room to get to the kitchen. So even if you're not watching it with me, if you're watching your thing in your cell and you're coming out to make yourself a snack during commercials, I'm telling you about the death drop you just missed. The funniest was this old Vietnamese guy who honestly thought that if he watched it for more than 30 seconds, he would actually turn gay. He was convinced that it would awaken some kind of latent urge in him that he would have to stamp down with more Bible study prayer. By the way, he was in there for killing his wife. I guess if I was a sociologist or a psychologist or any kind of like doctor who went to school for something that doesn't involve cutting people open, I would say something about how this really speaks to the masculine fragile ego and how the patriarchy is really what's keeping us in jail. But really, I just think people don't like gay shit forced down their throats, pause. I will admit that some people do overdo it. For example, there's the banana rule, in which you can never say the word banana in jail. It is constantly referred to as a yellow fruit. Is this inconvenient and actually causes things to take more time? Absolutely. Guys won't even eat a banana in the way you're supposed to. They break it off in half. A fun thing I would do was take my banana and go to eat it, and then ask you a question, and then get the answer and go to eat it again, ask another question. I would never actually take a bite of the banana. And yeah, a lot of fish was thrown around a lot. Not PH like the stoner band. Fish like in the Jamaican way of saying it. If you do anything in jail that reminds a Jamaican man that he has a penis, he will call you a batiman. Meanwhile, I'm trying to navigate and code switch between these two people to make them both as uncomfortable as possible. I'm trying to be called a batiman by the Jamaicans and have the cornbread, mayonnaise, Wonder Bread looking motherfuckers look at me like I'm fucking stupid or something. Bro, you know these aren't chicks, right? There was even one time when I had to describe what the word cisgender meant, and that was 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. So you're saying it's just like normal, right? Like me? Yeah, I guess that's what we have to do now in society. You're right. People were looking at me like I was crazy for watching RuPaul. No, you're crazy because you think that P-Valley is a documentary. Man, bring back P-Valley. That show is unreal. I'm telling you, the importance of television in jail cannot be understated. And when you don't have access to adult websites, shows like P-Valley, clutch. But I think if I had to sum it up, the overwhelming feeling that I got wasn't hate. People didn't hate gay people in jail. They were fearful of them because they didn't know them. But let's be honest, they didn't know a lot of things. They'd missed out on their whole lives. They were in jail. But again, if I was one of those ists, I would probably say that they were really fearful of the fact that they had seen how quickly the world was passing them by while they were on the outside. When I went to jail, it was a man and a woman. Well, Grandpa, there's 56 genders now. Pick one. The mayonnaise man, Mr. Wonderbread there, the guy who got busted for all of those break-and-enters, he actually did try to have a conversation with me about it. And I told him, man, look, you're gonna just have to face it. The world is a lot blacker and gayer than it was when you came in. And you just have to deal with it because it's not getting whiter and straighter, I can tell you that much. But that's the thing about prison. You think that the scariest thing in there is the killer with a bunch of teardrop tattoos, but it's not. The scariest thing is losing out on this, what we're living right now. Freedom, time, seeing things pass by in real time without having it filtered through some kind of authority figure. As stupid as this is to say, the scariest thing is actually change. That and doing a death drop in heels.